Tucker Carlson is big mad after learning that the White House was trying to censor his show. And it wasn't just his show. It was many others. It was also Tommy Loren. And we learned only a few days ago, about a week ago, that the U.S. government was trying to ban around 250,000 accounts, including many journalists. Now, this information is not coming from the Twitter files, surprisingly. It's coming from a lawsuit filed by Louisiana and Missouri. And it's funny. It really is. Shout out to Tucker Carlson. He was talking on a show about, I'll give you the simple version. If you're vaccinated, you should be able to return to normal life, right? For some reason, you weren't. And that was the narrative in the beginning. When they said, go out, get your vaccine, then you can't transmit the virus and you don't have to wear a mask. You can go back to work. Life goes back to normal. You want to travel, get the vaccine. You got to do it. Get your card. You want to go to the bar, get your card. And then sure enough, when people went out and actually did it, it was the old bait and switch. All of a sudden, they were like, well, no, you still can't come to work. Well, no, actually, you still have to wear a mask. Wrong. We were wrong about everything, but thanks for doing it anyway. When Tucker Carlson said, hey, something's wrong with this, the White House intervened, directly emailing saying, shut him down. So, unsurprisingly, Tucker is mad. Let's see what this is all about from the Daily Mail. We were censored by the White House. Tucker Carlson slams Biden administration after lawsuit reveals it pressured Facebook to censor him talking about vaccines. Tucker Carlson slammed the Biden administration on his show Monday after court documents revealed it directly pressured Facebook to censor his show. Now, I just want to hold on there a minute. This is the biggest political commentary show, period. Tucker Carlson gets between 3 and 5 million viewers. Maybe it's down a bit now and around, 1 or 2 million, but he's bigger than everybody else. Now, to be fair, you've got a whole bunch of the same cookie cutter establishment opinion across a bunch of different networks, so it's diluted. With Tucker, you have only a few personalities talking about this stuff, so it concentrates. But that being said, Tucker is one of the biggest, if not the biggest political commentator, and they were trying to shut him down. Let me tell you why it's so important. I'm going to bring you, my friends, over to the Wikipedia page for me, Dimple. Now, this is funny. We can see, they got an updated photo here. How about that? On this page, I want to click Views, and I want to read you something important. They go to mention that Poole's former employer Vice calls him lefty and progressive for anti-corporate politics, as well as right-wing, blah, blah, blah. According to Politico, Poole's views on issues, including social media bias and immigration, often align with conservatives. According to Al Jazeera, quote, Poole has amplified claims that conservative media endure persecution and bias at the hands of tech companies. Fascinating. These phrases were included in my Wikipedia as essentially a smear to try and make the claim that I was far right or right. They struggle with it. But you see what they write, amplifying the claims. I mean, there was direct evidence. There was hard proof the entire time. And it's funny. When they were writing this and putting it in, there's debate and they're like, Poole is amplifying these false claims of persecution, blah, blah, blah. They talk about the Joe Rogan podcast. And every single day now, we learn more and more. It is all 100% fact. Let me show you the story. They say court documents released as part of a lawsuit against the Biden administration for allegedly colluding with social media executives to suppress stories. Revealed the White House's director of digital strategy emailed Facebook monitors about a video in which Carlson debated the efficacy of the COVID vaccines. He publicly questioned at the time why vaccinated people could not return to normal life. Interesting question. Leading Chelsea Clinton to publicly call on Facebook to take the video down. The director, Rob Flaherty, also pressured Facebook to reduce the availability of the story as it worked to tamp down on what it deemed to be misinformation about the vaccine. Carlson said on his show Monday night. Carlson and his guest, Louisiana Attorney General Jeff Landry, said the move directly violated Carlson's First Amendment rights. And then some. It's not just about Tucker Carlson. There's other people involved. This is the government directly violating the Constitution. Of course, as we all know, nothing will be done about it. These are dangerous times, man, because what I see every single day, evidence of government malfeasance with no accountability. You know, one of the big stories right now is that Joe Biden had classified documents in his office. Trump's screaming out, where's the FBI raid? Good question. Where is the FBI raid? How long do you think a country can function when it is so plainly visible that the government is abusing its power? Abusing its power is an understatement. Outright attacking the people with glee, and nothing's being done. Here's what I fear. It's not about necessarily like civil war or anything like that. It's about destabilization. Maybe that's what they want. Eventually, when people lose confidence in the system breaks down. The government exists only in the minds of the people, which is why something like January 6th doesn't work. Something like January 8th in Brazil doesn't work. You cannot stand in a building and change a person's perspective on government. So here's how it works. Why does the US dollar have value? You see, this is modern monetary theory. It used to be that gold was scarce, hard to come by, and it was being used as a trade medium. Part of the reason it was valuable was because people wanted it. Someone knew that if I had gold, I could trade that gold for something I want. Thus, it generates value. Eventually, the governments realize we can just control the scarcity. If we're the only ones who can make it, we control the scarcity. We tell people it has value. Boom. We can just mass print money however we want. The value of currency in the US dollar exists only in the minds, for the most part. I understand that there's economic function, but it's abstract. Meaning, if tomorrow a bunch of stores started saying we won't accept US dollars, then eventually people say, I don't want US dollars. And then eventually the dollar becomes worthless or worthless, worth nothing. That's the thing about government. The point I'm trying to make. As the Biden administration and Democrats increasingly just beat the crap out of people, figuratively and literally, eventually people will say this. Hey, I've had a problem. Should I contact the government for assistance? No. What's the point? They have no ability to solve these problems. And there it is. Right now, there is confidence that the government can cause you problems if you go up against them. The issue is, if the only confidence that people have in the system is that the system will beat the crap out of you, then people are going to be in opposition to that system. The system was supposed to be for, of, and by the people, meaning, yeah, if you speed, you get a ticket, you get pulled over, and we get mad about it. But if someone breaks into your house and you call the cops, they will come and do something about it. If someone aggresses upon you, the government would do something to stop it. But we're not there anymore. We're now in the position where the government will aggress upon you as criminals, and there's nothing you can do to stop them. When that persists, like we're seeing right now, Tucker Carlson aggressing upon him and trying to silence his right to speak his mind, you can see that the government is acting more like a mafia. And it's funny because I know, all the libertarians and anarchists, Luke, they're sitting there being like, yes, see, we told you. My point is, it wasn't always that way. To a certain extent, I get it. It's an organization of power. But in the early days of this country, it was for, of, and by the people. Every day this persists, we are inching closer and closer to not a government that exists for, of, and by the people that will protect your rights and your property, but we are seeing more and more a mafia that is being weaponized for power. In my mind, as we read these stories and we see how the establishment responds, the system's already collapsed. Let's read some more and we'll continue. They go on to say it comes just weeks after it was revealed how the government pressured Twitter executives to censor any COVID information that was true but inconvenient. Amazing, right? On a show Monday, Carlson shared excerpts of court documents showing Flaherty emailed Facebook executives in April 2021 saying, quote, the top post on Facebook about vaccines today is Tucker Carlson saying they don't work. He then allegedly went on to pressure the social media giant to follow its strategy of reduction. If reduction means pumping our most vaccine hesitant audience with Tucker Carlson saying it doesn't work, then I'm not sure it's reduction, Flaherty wrote in the email. I want you to see this picture. This is what an evil man looks like. Rob Flaherty. Why doesn't he care about the Constitution? Why doesn't he or others in the Biden administration, why doesn't he and many others, why don't they care about our rights? because they are evil people who believe they have a right to crush you. And if given the opportunity, they would beat you to death. Now, look, maybe a little extreme, but I genuinely believe after everything we've seen, if given the opportunity, and they would absolutely, I'm not saying this guy, Rob Flaherty, literally, I'm saying the government. I'm saying at this point, we can see that when protesters show up in front of the homes of Supreme Court justices in violation of the law, Merrick Garland with a smile on his face says, go yourself. But when pro-life activists hold signs in front of Planned Parenthood and protest, entering the building in some circumstances, they do a nationwide raid on their homes, gleefully using their power, but not for the power, not for the will of the people, but for themselves, for their own ideology, for their own ends. Okay, that's not government. This is just now a gang or a mafia. It's funny because I know the anarchists say it all the time. That's all the government is, because obviously the government aggresses upon them. There have been many conservatives and liberals who are willing to tolerate excesses of the government because for the most part, they feel comfortable. And we still do have it really, really nice here in the United States. But it's getting bad. If there is no accountability for this guy like Rob, I believe he should be arrested and charged criminally for this. Willfully trying to violate someone's rights is a crime. I believe it's never going to happen, but he should be cuffed and perp walked out, and they should say you are under arrest for the willful attempt to violate the rights through government of an individual in this country. It's not going to happen. The Republicans right now are doing some stuff. They passed a bill overwhelmingly to defund the IRS, not like it's going to go anywhere. To defund the 87,000 IRS agents. It's not going to go anywhere. I can respect the sentiment, but I don't care about them saying like, aha, we want to rescind funding for these 87,000 IRS agents. We are on your side. They know full well that bill won't go anywhere. What I want to see is them file subpoenas and go after these criminals. A Facebook employee later responded that he agreed and was running this down now. The move was apparently part of the White House's efforts to tamp down on what it deemed to be misinformation about the vaccine. It's not their responsibility. It's not within their rights. The government doesn't control what is true or what is not. Interesting. YouTube says you cannot defy the CDC or the World Health Organization. I think it's high time for major lawsuits. But I'm not sure that really matters, to be completely honest. Because as much as I see opportunity, and I'm fairly optimistic moving forward, we are in the midst of a very serious culture war, man. It's dark days indeed, an understatement. Journalist David Zweig recently revealed that the Biden administration also emailed Twitter executives to censor any information that did not support its messaging that the COVID vaccine was necessary, even when experts cited the administration's own data. Shout out to Steven Crowder, who got a strike for citing the CDC. Y'all remember this? Steven Crowder on his show said, here's the CDC statement. Boom, YouTube gave him a strike. Why? Steven, I think you should file a lawsuit against YouTube. Because the Twitter files are one thing. I wonder what's going on with YouTube behind the scenes. And considering you cited the CDC and they gave you a strike, I would argue that's a breach of contract. The contract with YouTube that we all have says that so long as we abide by certain rules, we will be allowed to produce content and together we will make money. I produce a video, YouTube gets a portion of the revenue. It is a mutual, it's an agreement that I have with their business and mine that we will make money for each other under this contract. You want to violate that contract, then we will have to file a lawsuit. Now, for me, I'm not existing in any of those. I don't have any of those circumstances. For Steven Crowder, who cited the CDC and they gave him a strike, okay. I don't know if Crowder can or what he needs to do, but he's got a lawyer and they've gone after YouTube often. So I'm wondering what the results of that would have been or was. I have to wonder if they could go to discovery and say, I want any communications between YouTube and the government as to why we got this video taken down. YouTube should be held I believe all of these people should be held criminally responsible. There's a law in the book. Someone super chatted us on Timcast IRL about willful violation of a person's rights. The government using a private company to censor someone's speech is just that. So I'd like to see this Rob Flaherty cuffed and charged criminally. It's like a year probation and a slap on the wrist fine or something like that, depending on the violation. But I want to see it. Republicans won't do anything about it. If they ever retain power, they're going to say, no, not now. I want to see an attorney general, the DOJ, filing an indictment. Well, I should say they got to go to a grand jury, I suppose. Explain to the grand jury, violating someone's rights is a crime. Here's a man requesting that one of the most prominent political commentators in the country have his voice shut down. And it's not just Tucker, it's so many others. I want to see criminal charges. Quote, it was never really a secret that there were huge problems with the COVID shots, Carlson began his show, pointing to the Biden administration's own VAERS database that indicated a large number of risks associated with the jab. We tried pointing it out more than a year ago. Not because we have a problem with the vaccine or our anti-vaxxers, but because if you're going to force people to take something, you probably ought to know what it is and what effects it might have. But in trying to say that we were censored, and now we know we were censored directly by the White House. Okay, Tucker, file a lawsuit. Look, man, there have been many circumstances where I have called my lawyer and spent a lot of money on the precursor to lawsuits. We don't have the standing. If we do, we will. Tucker Carlson does. It's entirely likely, nay, probable, extremely, that there are communications between the White House, YouTube, and Facebook about Timcast. I would not be surprised. And saying things like, what about this? And them saying, well, he's on the line, he danced on the fence, there's nothing we can really do about it. I am sure there are conversations between the White House, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, where they're like, we must remove Steven Crowder. I don't understand why he would get a strike otherwise. Now, that being said, Crowder has an initial argument that giving him a strike and suspending his channel stripped revenue from his business in violation of his contractual agreement with YouTube. I could be wrong, because I know he has a lawyer and I know that they've often had these conversations. But that's my initial assessment, and I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know. But in pursuing that, discovery could lead to communications between YouTube and the government. Perhaps what we need is another lawsuit on par with what Louisiana and Missouri are doing right now, among many others. Jim Hoft, the Gateway Pundit's involved, I believe. They're going to say Carlson then turned the conversation over to his guest, Jeff Landry, who, along with Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt, filed the suit against the Biden administration. Landry said that in reading the court documents, he felt the White House demanded Carlson's video be taken down. As he told Carlson, it's certainly a violation of your First Amendment right, Tucker. Absolutely amazing. So, I want to just briefly mention once again, how about over on Wikipedia, and maybe this page is locked. Yeah, my page is locked because people are always posting nonsense. How about they change this one to, instead of writing Poole's views on issues including social media bias and immigration often align with conservatives, they write, Poole correctly stated for years, based on news reports, that conservatives faced persecution and bias at the hands of tech companies. How about they then say, Poole's views on issues regarding immigration aligns with Bernie Sanders? It's amazing, isn't it? The manipulation and the lies. Let me tell you, my friends, about the game they play and the point, and y'all need to understand. This Saturday, DC, Freedom Plaza. I hope to see you there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be skating around. It's going to be funny. We're going to goof off. No special event, nothing official. Literally, I'm just going to be there. Hope to see you there. People are saying they're going to fly in. And I don't know. Some people are like, dude, are you seriously announcing your location? You're posting assassination coordinates, blah, blah, blah. Maybe. What am I alive for? If not to go out and skate. Do we really have to live in this world? No. So I'll tell you what it's all about. This is the point I'm trying to make. Stand up for what you believe in. Or don't. But kids today, let me tell you, I'm gonna do a segment on this book. I'm reading this thing, Genderqueer. And it breaks my heart. This poor woman. It really is. I'm not being facetious and I'm not being silly. I said, y'all need to read that book. And people are like, pass. No, read it. The physical abuse this person went through. You'll understand. Wow. And they don't even realize how they were severely abused. It's crazy. But here's my point. Kids are being indoctrinated today. The White House is shutting down our conversations. They're trying to make sure that the only thing young people hear is their twisted cult of psychopathy. You must stand up. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do. A lot of people are like, easy for you to say, Tim, easy for you to say. Okay, easy for me to say. I'm going to go show up in DC's Freedom Plaza and let everyone know I'll be there Saturday, 10 a.m. That's when I'm there. No official event, nothing planned, no speakers. Literally, I'm going to show up with my skateboard. That's it. And maybe people will be there and I have no idea what's going to happen. I suppose I'll just sit there and people will skate and it will be fun because people skate there as it is. The point is, you must assert yourself in these spaces. And if you are concerned about your job, your family, I empathize and I respect those concerns. I am willing to go out and announce publicly to every single person with extended and advanced notice, make sure everybody knows in every segment I do, I'm going to be standing right there. I'm going to be skating around. What up? That's it. And I have no idea what's going to happen. It might rain. If it rains, we have to postpone it. That's unfortunate, but like you can't skate in the rain. I mean, I'll probably still show up, but we sit in the car because if it rains. So some people are saying they're going to fly out. But if you think that I should fear for my life because we've been swatted 15 times, because we've received copious death threats, because the bomb squad's been deployed, just know that I'm willing to go stand out in the middle of an open space in Washington, D.C. I'm absolutely willing to do that. And it is what it is. I'm not afraid. Yeah, some lunatic might come and try and get up in my business. Some crazy person might threaten me. There may be protesters. I have no idea. Or quite literally, no one might show up. It may be the stupidest thing where people are just like, dude, Tim, no one cares about you. And I'm like, oh, okay, fair point. Fine. That's why we're not doing like an official event or anything. I'm just going to show up and we'll see what happens. DC's Freedom Plaza. Maybe those people who are constantly swatting us and threatening us will do nothing. And that's really what I think. Nothing will happen. I think I'll go out and skate. I think a handful of people are going to show up. Maybe it'll be crowded. I have no idea, but it's going to be fun on a bun. So if you skateboard, come show up. I'm going to give away a bunch of Step on Sneck and Find Out skateboards, Timcast skateboards. And we got a big old, I think we'll just give away those ones. Like I got a big old stack of anti-hero skateboards, but the point is this. Tucker Carlson goes on his show and he says it. And you say, and many people are like, well, it's easy for him to say he's very rich. Fair point. Tucker Carlson also moved out to the middle of nowhere. We're sort of in the middle of nowhere. I got out of the cities mostly because the cities are broken and corrupt, but I'm willing to go back, skate. I'm willing to stand there in the street. So for every single person who's taken that risk, I will take that risk right alongside you and I will not back down. I'm going to have a good time. Maybe I'll do a kickflip nose slide or a nollie flip nose slide, nollie flip out. Maybe I'll get something on the ledge. Maybe we'll film something. I'm 30. I'm about to turn 37, so I'm not going to be going nuts. I can skate, do some switch tray flips or something. Maybe some switch hard flips, late flips, things like that. But I'm an old man. Going to go hang out. Hope to see you there and have a good time. We just need to stand up for what we believe in. We need to call out the lies and the manipulation. Otherwise, the reason why I'm saying this right now in relation to Tucker Carlson is because by shutting down his speech, by shutting down my speech and your speech, the only thing 8-year-olds, 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 14-year-olds, the only thing they hear, wokeness. In 10 years, an 8-year-old in 10 years will vote. And if the only thing they know is wokeness, they will vote for that cult garbage. It's going to be funny in 10 years when Vosh is a conservative and he's like, I'm not a conservative. And they're like, yes, you are, dude. Absolutely. Because what's happening is people are unwilling to speak up out of fear. And it's sad. I can get it for sure. But if you and the leftist are standing there and you say, I won't say a word because I will get canceled, and the leftist screams, smacking people around and throwing Molotovs, screaming racism, 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 that little kid only hears one thing. And when they turn 18, they're going to vote for that one thing because that's their entire worldview. I'll leave it there. Next segment is coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.